Hey there. You've reached the softer edge of the day, where the world finally stops shaking you by the shoulders and lets you rest inside your own breath. Tonight you drift toward Majapahit, toward red brick gates glowing in fading light, toward clove-sweet courtyards, toward a river-fed city that moves in slow, practiced rhythms. It looks peaceful. That's the trap. This place tests you with tiny rules and quiet symbols, the kind that trip you before you even realize you're walking. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and let me know how your day has really been, your worries, your exhaustion, or even a tiny joy that made you smile. I'm here to truly listen and offer the most sincere, heartfelt advice I can. Now turn off the lights, take a deep, slow breath, let your tiredness melt away, and gently close your eyes. Let's drift together into tonight's dreamlike lands. And tomorrow morning, if you still remember, send me a message and tell me what you dreamed. You step toward the gate, and the first thing you notice is the brick's honesty. Sun-fired clay with tiny chips, softened corners, and leftover warmth, as if the afternoon has fallen asleep in the wall. The gateway rises in two symmetrical shoulders, narrowing toward a slice of dusk sky, and you stand under it and feel the simple truth of architecture. You are small, and that's not an insult. Beyond the threshold, Majapahit waits in layers. Low roofs overlap. Lantern light begins to pool along brick lanes. Smoke drifts thinly, cooking fires, incense, resin, and braided through it all is the scent of cloves, sweet, bitter, steady, returning in gentle waves until it feels like the city is breathing with you. Two attendants drift near. Plain cloth, calm posture, eyes that miss nothing. They don't seize you. They simply angle their bodies and guide you to the correct side of the passage where foot traffic flows. It's subtle and it saves you from starting your first minute here with a clumsy offense. You follow, grateful, pretending you meant to do that all along. Sure. Under the archway the air cools. Sound changes too, less open road, more contained life. Water trickling into a basin, a broom sweeping in measured strokes. Your feet pass from packed earth to worn brick pavers, polished smooth by other lives. They lead you into a receiving courtyard, modest, precise, swept clean enough to look brushed. A rinse bowl is offered. You dip your hands in and let travel grit dissolve, letting the water reset you. No one rushes you. Here, speed is something you use sparingly. A thin strand of incense curls from a clay burner at the corner, and the scent shifts, clove, yes, but also something woody and clean, like warmed bark after rain. Someone passes with a small tray of dried buds, their dark heads glossy in the lantern light. You don't take one, not yet. You simply let the aroma settle, and you notice how it steadies the room, how it makes even your nerves feel slower, as if anxiety has to walk politely here too. Then you nearly step over a slightly raised threshold. One attendant lifts a palm. No force, no scolding, just a soft stop. You look down and understand. This is a line where you wait until you're invited, even if the invitation is only a nod. You step back, and in that tiny correction you feel the city teaching you its language, pauses instead of explanations. Your attention drifts to the courtyard's edge, where a basin holds dark water. Lantern reflections tremble on the surface like small, nervous stars. Something moves beneath, slow, deliberate, like a thought rising. A turtle breaks the surface with patient ease. Its head emerges glossy and dark, and it blinks as if time is an ordinary thing. Ripples spread outward and tap the brick rim with a quiet, polite knock. No one gasps. No one points. But the air changes anyway, the way a room changes when someone important arrives without announcing themselves. One attendant's gaze flicks to the turtle and then away. Another straightens a small offering dish nearby. Nothing dramatic, just a correction, like adjusting your collar before a formal portrait. You watch the turtle breathe, slow and unhurried, and you tell yourself it's just an animal. You also feel your own thoughts soften, as if they should be more respectful here. That's the quiet power of an omen. It doesn't demand belief. It waits, and lets your mind do the work. The turtle turns once, drifts, and slips under the water, leaving widening rings that fade back into stillness. The attendants resume their gentle motion, and you follow, but you carry the ripple with you. You don't know the rules yet. You don't know which gestures are sacred and which are habit. You only know this: Majapahit has noticed you, and it has answered with brick, with cloves, and with a sign at the waterline. As you're led deeper into nested courtyards, the red brick continues like a steady heartbeat. Lanterns glow warmer. The clove scent settles into your lungs like slow comfort. And somewhere in the back of your mind, like a pebble in a pocket you keep touching, the turtle omen waits, patient and ancient, slightly amused that you thought you could walk through this gate and remain unchanged. You move on from the receiving courtyard the way a leaf moves on water, guided, not pushed, following brick lanes that bend gently as if the city prefers you not to see too far ahead. The red walls are everywhere, not towering in arrogance, but steady and practical. Low boundaries, tidy corners, gateposts with softened edges from weather and hands. They hold warmth from the day, and as you pass, you can almost feel the stored sunlight bleeding out into the evening. The attendants keep a respectful distance, close enough to steer you away from trouble, far enough to let you pretend you belong. It's a very specific kind of hospitality, not smothering, not cold, just calibrated. Like the way a good lullaby stays near your ear but doesn't demand you sing along. You start to hear the morning before you see it. Roosters and distant bell chimes fade as you drift into the market quarter where the day has already been awake for hours. Smoke rises from cook fires, thin and pale. Steam curls from pots. The air is busy with smells layered like cloth: damp earth, hot rice, fish brine, sweet palm sugar, and always that underlying clove note, sometimes sharp, sometimes soft, like it's testing which version of itself you can handle. The lane opens into a broad market space, and it's not chaos the way outsiders imagine. It's organized movement. Everyone has a place, and the place has a logic you can feel even if you can't yet name it. Mats are arranged in tidy rows. Baskets sit in arcs. Spices are piled into small hills like miniature landscapes. Amber turmeric, deep red chili, pale salt crystals that sparkle in the light. Nearby, bundles of dried cloves rest like dark blossoms, their heads shiny, their stems thin, the smell rising off them like a promise you aren't sure you want to accept. A woman in simple cloth lifts a woven tray, sifts rice with a practiced wrist, and the grains whisper against bamboo. A potter's hands turn clay on a low wheel. The wet earth glistens and spins, and you watch a bowl rise from nothing, as if calm intention can coax shape out of mud. You realize quietly, that this kingdom is built from repetitive mastery, not grand gestures, repeated careful ones. You walk with your eyes open, but you keep your body humble. The attendants taught you that with their first gentle hand signal. Here, you let your gaze linger, but you don't stare. You don't touch what isn't offered. You don't step into a space that looks like it belongs to someone else's work. It's an exhausting discipline at first, like learning to breathe in a new rhythm, but it's also strangely soothing. Your mind stops darting. It begins to move the way the market moves, in lines. A spice seller holds up a small pinch of something dark and fragrant, cloves, of course, and places it on a leaf for you. You bring it close. The scent is rich, sweet, slightly medicinal, like comfort with a warning label. You don't eat it. You just inhale. The seller nods, satisfied, as if you've passed the test without even realizing there was one. From somewhere near the edge of the market, you catch the sound of water, steady splashing, the slap of cloth. Laundry is being beaten against stone, rinsed, wrung, hung. Even that feels ceremonial, the cleaning of fabric, the renewal of something used. You think of the turtle in the basin back at the courtyard, the slow, patient rise, the ripple. It's like the city speaks in water as much as it speaks in brick. You follow the attendants past a line of vendors selling woven mats, rope, and baskets. Their hands move fast, and their eyes flick up to track you and then drop back down to work. You are noticed, but not worshipped. A boy runs past with a bundle of greens, nearly colliding with you, and at the last moment he slips sideways with astonishing grace, like he's practiced dodging adults all his life. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't apologize. He just flows around you and continues. The city keeps going. A faint change in smell draws you toward a shaded stall where ash and incense are arranged in small jars. The ash is pale and fine, the incense sticks short and bundled, and a little burner smolders at the edge. The smoke is not thick, not choking. It's delicate, drifting upward in threads. Someone sprinkles ash into a small bowl and smooths it flat, then presses a stamp into it, leaving a simple pattern. You don't know what it means, but you feel the intent, marking, ordering, making the invisible visible. You glance at your attendants, curious, and one of them shifts weight slightly, as if to say, "Look, but don't interrupt." So you look. You learn with your eyes. You let the mystery stay intact. Past the incense stall, the lane narrows again, and you pass workshops. A woodcarver shaves thin curls from a plank. The curls fall like soft ribbons. A smith's hammer rings against metal, sharp, controlled strikes. The rhythm of labor becomes a kind of music, and the market's hum rises and falls around it. And then you notice something else. The way people carry themselves when they pass certain corners. Their steps soften. Their hands move closer to their bodies. Some glance down, some glance toward a small brick shrine tucked into a wall niche. Nothing dramatic, nothing performative, but the pattern repeats often enough that you recognize it as custom. Respect paid in tiny movements. You copy them cautiously. Not out of fear, exactly. More out of a desire to not be the one loud mistake in a quiet room. You adjust your pace. You angle your body slightly away from the shrine as you pass. You don't make a show of it. You just align. And in that alignment, something loosens in you. You begin to feel less like a visitor being dragged along and more like a body learning the city's pulse. Brick underfoot, clove in the air, smoke rising in patient lines, water somewhere nearby, always moving, always rinsing. By the time the attendants guide you toward the edge of the market, you realize you're no longer gripping your own thoughts so tightly. Your shoulders have dropped. Your breathing has slowed. Even the turtle omen feels less like a threat and more like a reminder. Slow down, notice, don't assume you're invisible. Majapahit doesn't shout its lessons. It lets them seep into you the way spice seeps into warm food, gradually, quietly, until you can't separate the flavor from the meal. The market's hum stays behind you like a blanket you've just folded, still warm, still scented with smoke and rice steam, while the attendants guide you into quieter lanes where footsteps sound louder simply because there's less noise to hide inside. The red brick continues faithful as a pulse. Walls, gates, low partitions, corner shrines. Everything built to last. Everything built to be noticed without begging for attention. You pass a line of trees with leaves that catch the last light and turn it into soft green coins. Somewhere nearby, water runs, narrow channels, controlled, intentional, feeding basins and gardens the way breath feeds a voice. It makes the whole place feel washed, even when the air is heavy with spice. Ahead, the palace quarter begins to announce itself not with height, but with composure. The lanes widen. The brickwork becomes cleaner, more symmetrical, the joints tighter, the edges sharper. Lanterns hang at regular intervals, their flame steady, as if even fire has manners here. And the scent of cloves grows stronger, not the scattered clove smoke of the market, but a deeper, more concentrated sweetness that seems to live in the walls themselves. You cross another threshold, slightly raised, deceptively small, and your body remembers the first correction from the receiving courtyard. You don't step over too quickly. You pause, just for a breath. The attendants don't have to lift a hand this time. You've learned, at least, that Majapahit likes your feet to move with thought. Beyond the threshold is a courtyard that feels like it has been waiting for you, which is an unsettling sensation even when the waiting is polite. The space is broad and open, ringed by low-roofed structures with carved beams and shaded verandas. The bricks underfoot are smoother here, worn down by the soft persistence of many ceremonial steps. A basin sits near the center, water dark and still, reflecting lantern light like held breath. You can't help it. You glance toward the water, half expecting another patient head to rise, that same turtle calmness surfacing to remind you that you are being read. The surface remains still. The omen doesn't repeat itself on command. It never does. It simply leaves its impression in you, like a fingerprint on warm clay. People move through the courtyard in quiet patterns. Their clothing is fine but not ostentatious. Layered cloth, clean lines, careful drape. Their posture is the real ornament, upright, unhurried, controlled. They don't rush, and they don't linger in ways that suggest uncertainty. Each step looks chosen. Your attendants slow their pace, and you match them. You feel your own body becoming louder by comparison. The way your shoulders hold tension, the way your head turns too quickly, the way you're tempted to fill silence with movement. You resist. You become smaller on purpose. A pair of palace attendants, different from yours, but cut from the same calm cloth, approach with the unspoken weight of routine. One gestures toward a shaded edge of the courtyard where a rinse bowl and a folded cloth wait, along with a small dish of clove oil. You wash again, slow and thorough, letting water cool your wrists, then dab the oil lightly between your palms. The scent rises immediately, warm, sweet, almost floral, but grounded by something medicinal. It's calming in the way a well-made remedy is calming, the way it tells your body it's safe to stop bracing. You rub the oil into your hands and notice how the fragrance clings, a portable piece of the courtyard you can carry with you. Then comes the real lesson, how to stand. It starts as simple observation. You watch where people place their feet, slightly apart, not too wide. You watch how their weight stays centered, how their hands rest softly, never dangling, never fidgeting. Even stillness here has technique. You try to imitate it, and immediately learn the unpleasant truth. Standing looks easy until you do it in front of people who have been doing it correctly since childhood. Your shoulders want to creep upward. Your neck wants to stiffen. Your hands want to do something, anything, just to prove they exist. An attendant drifts close, not touching you, not correcting you like a teacher, but positioning themselves in your peripheral vision. Their stillness becomes a mirror. You soften your shoulders. You lower your chin slightly. You let your hands settle, relaxed but contained. It's a small adjustment, but the effect is surprising. You feel less like a noisy object and more like a person who understands that silence is part of the language. Then you learn the bow. Not the dramatic kind that screams performance, but a measured incline, timed to the other person's movement, respectful without groveling. The attendants demonstrate through their bodies alone, a gentle forward tilt, a brief pause, a return to upright. Their faces remain calm, as if even gratitude should be delivered in a controlled dose. You practice. Your first attempt is too deep, too eager, like you're trying to apologize for existing. You correct, lessening the angle. Your second attempt is too quick, a nervous twitch disguised as etiquette. You slow it down, letting it become a single smooth motion. As you repeat this, quietly, privately, within the space given to you, you understand what the clove chords are really teaching. Patience isn't just waiting. It's restraint. It's letting time be full instead of rushed. It's choosing not to hurry just because your nerves are loud. A few courtiers pass at the far end of the courtyard, their steps soft on brick. Their attention slides toward you and then away, not unkind, simply assessing. You feel the old instinct to over-explain, to compensate, to do something impressive. You don't. You hold still. You breathe in through your nose, slow, and let the clove scent fill the space behind your ribs. Breathing becomes its own lesson. Here, breath is meant to be quiet, measured, almost invisible. You notice how the locals inhale without lifting their chests too high, how their exhale doesn't spill into sound. You begin to match it. In, out. Slow enough to make your thoughts feel heavier, less flighty. And then, in the middle of all this careful learning, a tiny temptation appears, a clove offering dish near the courtyard edge, the buds arranged neatly, glossy in lantern light. Your fingers twitch toward it out of habit, curiosity, hunger, the simple human urge to touch the interesting thing. You stop yourself halfway. You remember the threshold. You remember the market's silent rules. You remember the turtle's ripple and how the air changed, subtle but undeniable. This place doesn't punish loudly. It corrects quietly, and it remembers. So you withdraw your hand as if you never meant to reach. You let your palms rest. You keep your face neutral. You do the most difficult thing, the thing that makes you feel oddly adult. You choose not to take what hasn't been offered. The attendants don't react. That's the point. The success here is not being praised. The success is not being noticed for the wrong reason. By the time you're guided toward the inner walkway, toward deeper courtyards where politics and devotion breathe in the same air, you feel changed in a small, steady way. Your body is slower. Your eyes are gentler. Your mind has stopped sprinting. You're still a visitor. You're still very capable of becoming an accidental spectacle. But for now, you stand in a clove-scented courtyard of red brick and lantern warmth, practicing patience like it's a craft. And you realize, with sleepy clarity, that in Majapahit the first test isn't bravery. It's composure. The kingdom doesn't need you to be loud. It needs you to be careful enough to not look like lunch. You continue along the inner walkway, and the palace quiet deepens the way a well goes deeper when you stop throwing stones into it. The brick underfoot stays warm at first, then cools as you pass into shade. Roof beams cast long, neat shadows across the path, and those shadows feel intentional too, like even darkness is arranged with care. Your attendants angle you toward a low building whose walls are the same honest red as the gates. But here the bricks are tighter, cleaner, as if someone has been correcting them for generations. The air changes when you step inside. Less incense, more dry plant fiber, more dust-softened wood, more that faint metallic tang of ink. The clove scent doesn't vanish. It simply becomes quieter, like a respected guest who sits down and listens. Inside, the room is calm and busy at once. People sit in rows on woven mats, backs straight, faces neutral, hands moving in small precise motions. Bundles of palm leaf strips lie stacked like thin ribs. String ties hold rolled documents in tidy cylinders. Small weights, seals, and measuring cords are arranged with the kind of affection you usually reserve for treasured tools. You feel the odd certainty that if you moved one object an inch, someone would notice, not because they're dramatic, but because order here is a living thing that must be fed constantly. A scribe dips a stylus into a dark inkstone and draws careful marks along a strip. Another counts small tokens, smooth pebbles or carved pieces, sliding them in pairs and threes, then pausing to confirm the final cluster. A third presses a seal into soft clay and lifts it cleanly, revealing a crisp imprint. No one speaks. The room hums anyway, a low, almost musical rasp of fiber and ink, the soft tap of a seal, the occasional whisper of a page being turned. Your palms still carry a ghost of clove oil from the courtyard. It's comforting, but it also makes you acutely aware of your own hands, how they might leave a smudge, how they might ruin something fragile. You keep them close to your body, fingers relaxed, as if you're holding your own curiosity on a short leash. You're guided to a spot near the edge, close enough to see the work without breathing on it. The attendants don't announce you. They simply place you where you can learn and not disrupt. That is, apparently your entire job here, exists quietly and absorb. One of the record keepers lays out a set of items with slow patience. A measuring cord knotted at regular intervals, a small wooden box with weights, and a sheet, thin, pale, slightly translucent, covered in neat lines. You don't know what the lines mean, but you recognize the structure, columns, tallies, repeating symbols. The shape of accounting is universal. Human beings love to turn messy life into straight lines. As you watch, you start to understand what this room is doing to the kingdom. It is not glamorous. It doesn't carry a spear or wear a crown. But it holds Majapahit together the way sinew holds a body together, quietly, invisibly, constantly. A clerk sorts lists that smell faintly of smoke and resin, records of rice, salt, fish, timber. Another handles trade counts, ceramics, metalwork, woven cloth, checking marks against a set of carved tokens that match certain routes and cargo types. And there, threaded through everything, are spices, cloves counted in bundles, weighed, categorized, recorded with a seriousness that makes you want to laugh and then stop yourself, because yes, of course it matters. Cloves are not just flavor here. Cloves are leverage. Cloves are comfort and currency and ritual all at once. You notice a separate stack of records placed near a small brick alcove where a lamp burns steadily. Offerings, temple gifts, scheduled distributions. Someone records what arrives and what must be shared, what is kept and what is carried onward. The kingdom's devotion is not floating mist. It is counted. It is stored. It is tracked. Even the sacred has a ledger. And somehow that doesn't feel cynical. It feels practical. Like devotion is taken seriously enough to be managed carefully, not left to chance. You think of the turtle rising in the basin, that slow head breaking the waterline, the ripple. Signs and numbers, omens and tallies. Majapahit keeps both close, as if life requires a balance of mystery and math. A craftsman sits near a window, carving seals from a dark wood or stone. Their hands move with a surgeon's calm. Each seal is a tiny world of meaning, pressed into clay to say, yes, this is real. Yes, this is authorized. Yes, this belongs to the kingdom's memory. You watch the carving tool shave away a sliver, and the sliver curls like a dry leaf. The craftsman wipes the surface, checks the symmetry, makes another cut. It's so controlled it almost feels like meditation with sharp edges. You lean forward slightly, too much. Not dangerously, just enough that you feel the shift in your own center of gravity. Your elbow hovers near the edge of a low table where inkstones sit. And then your body remembers thresholds. You freeze. You draw back. You don't touch anything. Your heart gives a small, embarrassed thump, like a child who almost knocked over a glass and then pretended they weren't reaching for it. You glance at your attendants, expecting a gentle hand signal. They don't move. They've already taught you. This is the part where you apply the lesson without being reminded. You settle again, and your breath smooths out. In, out, quiet. The room continues its work, indifferent to your near mistake, because the system is designed to survive tiny tremors. But you also sense the truth beneath that calm. It survives only because everyone participates in keeping it calm. One clerk pauses over a column of marks, frowns slightly, not angry, just focused, and shifts 2 tokens from one pile to another. The correction is tiny. The impact could be huge. You realize how fragile this order is, how much it depends on eyes that notice, hands that don't rush, minds that don't drift. The thought lands softly but heavy. A kingdom isn't just gates and courtyards and clove-scented festivals. It's also this. Ink that must dry. counts that must match, names that must be remembered exactly, offerings that must be recorded so the sacred doesn't become neglected by accident. You imagine what happens if someone miscounts a shipment, or records the wrong measure, or misplaces a seal. A ripple, like the turtle's ripple, spreading outward. Not dramatic at first, just quiet circles touching everything. Your attendants guide you a little farther along the edge, letting you see shelves where bundles are stored by category. Ties, labels, careful stacking. The red brick wall behind the shelves feels steady, but you don't confuse steady walls with stable systems anymore. The walls are easy. The order is the hard part. As you leave the record room, the clove air meets you again in the corridor, warmer, more familiar. Your hands remain clean. Your posture remains contained. And the idea stays with you, tucked into your mind like a folded note. Majapahit's beauty is real, yes, but it is maintained constantly by people who never get credit for how close chaos always is. You walk on, quieter inside, as if you've learned another kind of bow, one you make not to a person, but to the unseen work that keeps the world from falling apart. You step out of the record rooms carrying a new kind of quiet, the sort that comes from realizing a city is held together by invisible hands. The corridor breathes clove again, warm, sweet, steady, and the red brick keeps escorting you as if it's the only guide you'll ever really need. Your attendants lead you through a sequence of shaded passages where the air grows cooler and damper, and you begin to sense water nearby before you see it, the way your body senses sleep before your mind admits it. The palace quarter loosens into working streets. Roof lines lift. The lanes widen. The brick boundaries stay, but the texture changes. More scuffed corners, more patched sections, more footprints pressed into the dust between pavers. The sounds shift too. Less hush. More effort. The city's breath gets louder as you approach the river. Then the docks arrive all at once, like stepping from a careful painting into a moving one. The river is broad here, dark and muscular, carrying reflections that look too heavy to be light. Lantern glow, roof shadows, the pale streak of early sun if the day has turned. The air is wet, salted by distance, and threaded with tar, rope fiber, fish, and wood that's been soaked and dried 100 times. Clove scent still follows you, but down here it's mixed with everything else, like perfume that has accepted it can't control the room. Boats crowd the edge, long, narrow craft that slip through shallows, sturdier cargo vessels with higher sides, fishing boats with nets bundled like sleeping animals, larger ships anchored farther out, their masts rising like patient reeds. The timber groans softly with motion. Rope creaks. Water taps hulls with relentless, gentle insistence. Your attendants don't try to keep you boxed in. They guide you to the side, where you can watch without being in the way, and the dock workers continue as if you're just another piece of scenery. Men and women shoulder sacks of rice. Others stack woven baskets of dried fish, coils of rope, bundles of timber, jars sealed with resin. A cart rattles over uneven brick toward a storehouse, its wheels making a sound that feels older than any song. You begin to understand the language of boats, not as words but as signals. The angle of a bow, the tension of a rope, the way a sailor's hands move when a line is about to bite, the way people step wide around wet planks, or tap a beam twice before carrying something over it, as if asking the wood's permission. A small group of sailors works a larger vessel closer to the dock. They move like a single organism. One pulls, another braces, another guides the line around a post in a smooth wrap that tightens without snagging. The rope's fibers catch the light, and you notice how a line is more than a tool here. It's trust. It's math. It's timing. A rope tied wrong turns mercy into disaster. Near the edge, a sailor kneels beside a bucket and wets his hands, then smears something pale across his forearms. Ash mixed with oil, maybe, or clay. It looks like protection, not fashion. You think of the ash stall back in the market, the flattened bowl, the stamped pattern. Different context, same instinct. Mark the body, align the day, reduce the risk. You follow the motion of cargo from boat to land, land to storehouse, storehouse to cart, cart to street. The chain is long and fragile, and now you can't unsee the ledger behind it. Every sack lifted is a tally waiting to be recorded. Every jar is a promise someone must keep. Every shipment that arrives late becomes a ripple that touches mouths, temples, kitchens, and courts. The river is the kingdom's open throat, swallowing goods and breathing them out again. And you, standing there, feel the steady pull of it, this broad, indifferent current that doesn't care about etiquette or seals or careful bows. Water has its own rule. It goes where it goes. Still, the people here do their best to negotiate with it. You watch a navigator trace a route on a simple board, using pebbles to mark ports, coastal points, river mouths, places where the sea taste begins. He moves the stones slowly, like he's soothing the map into cooperation. Nearby, another sailor checks the sky with a small frown, then checks the water's surface, then checks the ropes again. Down here, everyone reads everything. Weather, tide, wood, birds, the way a flag shifts in a breeze that hasn't fully arrived. And then you notice the small rituals that thread through the work like hidden stitches. A man steps onto a boat and pauses just long enough to touch the gunwale with 2 fingers, then flick those fingers toward the river. Another avoids stepping over a coiled rope, choosing to walk around even though it adds distance. Someone taps a mast base 3 times before hauling a net. Another worker sets a clove bud, just one, on the edge of a crate before sealing it, the dark little head glossy like a tiny eye. None of it is dramatic. It's practical superstition, the kind born from living with forces you can't argue with. You don't fight the river. You bargain with it. You don't command the sea. You approach it politely and hope it approves. You remember the turtle again, and the way the air shifted when it surfaced. The dock workers don't talk about omens out loud either, but their bodies have the same quiet awareness, an understanding that the world gives signs, and ignoring them is a luxury reserved for people who never have to tie their own rope. A fish seller lifts a basket, and a glint of something pale flashes inside. Shell, scale, maybe bone, then disappears as the basket swings down. Your mind grabs at the image with that half-dreamy curiosity that keeps you awake at night. The river gives you scraps of meaning and lets you do the rest. Your attendants steer you toward a brick pier where the red walls meet wet wood. The boundary between land and water looks like 2 philosophies arguing gently. Brick says, hold. Water says, move. The city survives by letting both be true. You step closer to the edge and feel the dock's vibration through your soles as the ship shifts with the current. For a moment, your body adjusts instinctively, balancing without thinking. You realize you're learning again, Not just how to stand in clove courts, but how to stand in a moving world. A breeze passes, cool and faintly salty, and it carries cloves scent outward over the water. The smell thins as it travels, but it doesn't vanish. It becomes a thread connecting court and dock, festival and fish, ledger and tide. Majapahit is not one place. It's a network of careful actions, and down here you can see the network's exposed veins. You watch a final boat push off, its oars dipping in unison, the hull sliding away with quiet determination. The river accepts it without comment. The workers return to their loads. The ropes tighten. The seals will be pressed later. The clove cords will continue to smell sweet, as if sweetness has never concealed a warning. And somewhere beneath it all, like a slow heartbeat you can't quite ignore, the thought settles in you. If the river decides to change its mood, the entire kingdom will have to listen. You linger at the pier's edge a moment longer than you should, because the river is hypnotic. Simple motion, endless variation, a quiet insistence that nothing stays where you left it. Workers keep lifting, tying, stacking, and you try to look like a person who belongs near ropes, not a visitor who might be swept away by enthusiasm. Your attendants guide you to a calmer stretch where red brick meets wet wood. The boards are dark with damp. The river laps with a soft, repetitive sound that could pass for a lullaby if you forget the current underneath, and how little it cares about your plans. A small cargo boat noses in and bumps the pier with a mild thud. Two sailors step down, bare feet steady on slick boards. A boy carries a coil of rope past you, careful not to let it drag, careful not to step over it. You've watched long enough to understand this isn't fussiness. It's survival disguised as habit. Then, in the shallows beside the pier, something changes. At first it's only texture, an oval shadow sliding under lantern reflections. The surface swells as if the river takes a slow breath. And then a head rises, smooth, patient, and familiar in a way that makes your spine go very still. A turtle. Not the same one, you tell yourself. The city is too big. Your mind is too eager for neat patterns. Still, the shape is unmistakable. Blunt snout, slow blink, unhurried composure that feels almost intentional. It floats near the pier as if it has been scheduled. The people closest to the edge notice at the same time you do, and the dock shifts without a single announcement. A rope stops sliding for half a breath. A hand pauses mid-knot. A foot that was about to step onto a plank sets down more carefully. One worker, ash still chalked along his forearms, straightens and looks toward the water, then lowers his gaze. Another reaches toward a small tray on a crate, just a pinch of dried cloves and a smear of oil, then stops short, waiting, as if timing matters more than the offering itself. The turtle drifts closer until its shell is almost within the pier's shadow. It turns in slow arcs, circling once, twice, carving ripples that tap the posts. Tap, tap, tap. A gentle knock on a door you didn't know existed. Your mouth goes dry, and you dislike that reaction because you're not afraid of turtles. Turtles are supposed to be quiet little philosophers. This one feels like a messenger that understands exactly how much attention it's causing. You remember the basin in the palace courtyard, still water, lantern shimmer, that first slow rise. You remember how the air shifted then, subtle but undeniable. The docks do the same thing now. No panic, no drama, just a collective tightening, the way a body tightens before it lifts something heavy. An older supervisor steps to the edge and squats with easy balance. He doesn't reach into the water. He simply watches, hands held still, as if the correct response is to witness first and decide later. Your attendants shift a fraction closer behind you, anchoring you. Their posture tells you to stay quiet, to let the locals read the sign in their own language. You comply, and you keep your curiosity on a short leash. The turtle stops circling. It faces upstream and holds still for a beat, then dips its head under and rises again, taking a second breath like a deliberate punctuation mark. A thin trail of bubbles slips up beside the shell. Then it begins to move, steadily upstream, against the flow, slow strength, calm refusal. That's when the dock begins to adjust. A sack meant for an outgoing boat is set down instead. A crate is shifted to a different stack. Lines are retied, not because they were wrong, but because merely not wrong isn't good enough when the river hits. A sailor checks the sky, then checks his knot again with extra care. Small corrections, made quickly and quietly, like a ledger clerk sliding tokens before a column turns dangerous. You realize the omen isn't decoration here. It isn't a cute story told to make children behave. It's a practical prompt: pause, check, correct. The kingdom survives by treating tiny signals as worthy of attention: thresholds, tallies, ash marks, the way a rope sounds when it's under strain. The turtle continues its upstream line, slipping between shadow and light. You track it the way you track a drifting lantern, softly mesmerized, slightly uneasy. Clove scent rides the air from nearby cargo, sweet and steady, and the sweetness now feels less like comfort and more like a reminder. Behind you work resumes, but the rhythm has changed. Movements are more deliberate. People choose the safer step, the slower lift, the cleaner tie, as if the whole pier has agreed to be careful for a while. Your attendant guides you a few steps back toward the brick boundary where your feet feel steadier. You let your shoulders drop. You let your hands rest. You pretend you're calm, which is charming, because your pulse is still doing that small, embarrassed sprint. And as the turtle disappears into darker water, leaving only widening rings that fade into stillness, you understand something with sleepy clarity. In this city, even the river can issue instructions. The people listen. The kingdom listens. And now, slightly inconveniently, so do you. You leave the docks with the river's damp breath clinging to your clothes, and the idea of the turtle clinging to your mind. Upstream, against the current, slow strength, calm refusal. The dock worker's tiny adjustments replay behind your eyes: pause, check, correct. Your attendants guide you away from wet wood and Rope Creek, back toward brick lanes that rise gently from the water, and with every step the air dries and the city's hush returns. Red brick keeps you oriented: low walls, rubbed gateposts, fired clay channels. In shade it feels cool, and the coolness steadies you when your thoughts start floating. The lane narrows, then opens into a temple compound tucked behind layered thresholds. Nothing shouts grand entrance. Instead, Majapahit makes you earn your arrival in small pauses. A step up. A brick lip. A passage that turns your body sideways. Each threshold asks you to slow down and remember your feet have consequences. You do. You pause, breathe, then step over as if the ground deserves manners. Inside, the light breaks into fragments through leaves and roof slats, scattering bright shapes across the courtyard floor. The air is cooler here, carrying clean wood-smelling incense. Beneath it, clove smoke curls from small burners set low beside offerings, soft, steady, familiar. A brick path runs along the courtyard, worn smooth by countless feet. It leads past a basin where water spills in a thin stream, rinsing the stone lip and keeping it perpetually wet. Beside it sits a small arrangement, folded leaves, a pinch of rice, a dusting of ash, and a single dark clove bud resting on top like a tiny glossy eye. You don't touch. You don't lean close enough to breathe on it. Reverence here is mostly restraint. Low sanctuaries line one side of the compound, their brick faces warmed by sun, their interiors shaded and deep. Carved beams frame the entrances. The carvings feel less like decoration and more like instruction, leaves curling into waves, birds turning into spirals, animals that belong to river and land at once. The turtle omen sits in you as you study those shapes, as if the walls are quietly admitting they understand signs. You drift into corridor shade where the air is coolest, and your skin relaxes. The sound changes too, less street noise, more ritual texture, water trickling, leaves brushing, the faint scrape of a broom. Even silence has grain. You become aware of your breathing again, and you keep it quiet, controlled, almost invisible, the way you learned in the clove courts. Your attendants position you near an edge where you can observe without intruding. People move through the compound in careful patterns. Some carry small trays. Some keep their hands clean and empty. Some wear ash marks faint against skin, pale punctuation that says, "I remember where I am." The ash takes you back to the market stall and to the dock workers' chalked forearms. Different spaces, same instinct, align the body, reduce the risk. Devotion and power share the same air. Certain areas are swept cleaner. Certain thresholds are raised higher. Certain altars hold richer offerings placed with more careful spacing. The boundaries aren't guarded by weapons, they're guarded by posture. Attendants stand like living columns, not blocking you, just reminding your body it should not wander. At the far entrance, a small group arrives with the unmistakable polish of court life, and the compound tightens the way it tightened at the dock when the turtle rose. Bodies straighten, steps soften, hands settle. Your own shoulders lower automatically, as if your muscles have learned that survival here is mostly about not being clumsy. You watch offerings arranged with quiet care, rice, fruit, flowers, and a neat scatter of clove buds set in a deliberate number. The cloves look almost too small to matter, and yet you've already learned they speak market language, court language, dock language. Here they become temple language, sweetness offered to something older than brick, smoke rising like patience made visible. Your mind wants to force meaning onto the moment, to decide the turtle means danger, or blessing, or weather, or politics. Then you remember how this kingdom survives, by treating small signals as worthy of attention and making corrections before ripples spread. You let your need for a quick conclusion loosen. You allow the sign to remain a sign. You follow water again, because of course you do. Majapahit never lets a day pass without touching it somewhere. A narrow channel runs along the base of the wall, carrying a ribbon of flow so thin it barely catches the light. It whispers along brick, connecting basins and gardens, and you imagine it connecting everything else too, docks to courts, kitchens to sanctuaries, omens to ledgers. A breeze slides through the corridor, cool with garden shade. Clove smoke wavers, then steadies. Your eyelids grow heavier, not from boredom, but from the rhythm of the place: brick, water, incense, breath. The temple teaches with repetition. Slow down. Notice. Don't step where you haven't earned the step. Your attendants guide you onward through another threshold, and you step over it with the calm of someone learning to live inside pauses. Behind you, the compound continues its quiet choreography, devotion and governance braided together, beauty and boundary held by the same red brick. Ahead, the city waits with its next lesson, still scented with cloves, still listening for the next ripple at the waterline. You step out of the temple compound and back into the city's soft daylight, and the first thing that hits you is color. Bright cloth strung between brick posts, strips of red and gold and deep indigo fluttering over the lanes like tame flames. The air is still clove heavy, but now it's clove mixed with excitement. Extra smoke from extra burners, extra food simmering, extra hands moving with that brisk, purposeful energy people get when something important is about to happen and they're trying not to admit how much they care. Your attendants guide you through a corridor of preparations. The red brick seems to glow more warmly today, as if the walls are pleased with the attention. At doorways, bundles of palm leaves are being trimmed and folded into neat shapes. Small, precise offerings that look effortless until you try to make one and discover your fingers are apparently decorative. A courtyard opens and you see the festival taking shape in layers. Long cloths are being shaken out and hung from beams. Lantern frames are being checked, retied, leveled. A line of women sits with trays of rice and flower petals, pinching and placing with patient speed. Smoke rises in thin threads from clay burners set at intervals, each one carrying that familiar clove sweetness upward, softening the edges of everything it touches. You are gently, inevitably, pulled into the work. Not with words, no one needs to ask. Someone simply places a bundle of bright cloth in your hands, and your attendants shift their posture in that polite way that says, "Yes, you are doing this now, and no, you will not be dramatic about it." You take the cloth and immediately notice how heavy it is, woven thicker than it looks, the dye rich enough to stain your thoughts. You follow the example of the nearest hands, lifting, folding, aligning corners. The first attempt is optimistic. The cloth slumps and twists like it's trying to escape your competence. You correct, slower, more careful. Break and thresholds taught you this. Rushing is how you become a memorable mistake. A beam overhead waits for the cloth to be looped and tied. You watch how the locals nodded. Tight enough to hold, clean enough to look intentional, ends tucked so nothing flaps messily. You copy the motion. Your knot holds. It isn't elegant, but it's functional, and in Majapahit functional is a form of respect. Across the courtyard, someone stirs a large pot, and the smell that drifts over is sweet and smoky. Palm sugar, coconut, something toasted. Cloves flicker through it like a quiet refrain. The scent makes you hungry in a way that feels almost rude, because hunger is loud and this place prefers quiet. You swallow it back, breathe through your nose, let the aroma become part of the background. Near the center, a stack of offerings is being organized. Small leaf trays, pinches of rice, dabs of oil, dried clove buds placed with deliberate spacing. You notice the numbers, how often the same count repeats, and you remember the record rooms, the neat columns, the tokens sliding into order. Even celebration here has structure. Even joy is managed. You move to another task without being directed, because you've learned the kingdom's favorite trick. It makes you participate until you stop feeling like a visitor. A set of lantern frames needs carrying. You lift one carefully, feeling the lightwood flex in your hands. You step over a raised brick lip, another threshold, without even thinking about it now. Your feet pause. Your breath pauses. Then you move. Clove smoke curls around your wrists as you set the frame down. Someone adjusts it by a finger's width. A tiny correction. Everything is tiny corrections here. The city survives by refusing to let small things slide. And yet, beneath the bright cloth and tidy offerings, you sense a thin tension, subtle as a hairline crack in brick. People smile, but the smiles have edges. Hands move fast, but not careless. When someone glances toward the river direction, their eyes linger a fraction too long before they look away. It's the same quiet shift you felt when the turtle rose at the docks. Not fear, exactly, but awareness. A collective decision to be careful. You catch yourself doing it too. Every time you see a basin or a channel of water, your attention tilts toward it, half expecting that patient head to surface and make the air tighten again. It doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Omens don't perform on cue just because you've become emotionally invested. They appear, then they let you simmer in the aftertaste. A small ash bowl sits near a doorway, and you watch people touch their fingertips to it lightly before handling offerings. Some smear the faintest pale mark at the base of the thumb, barely visible unless the light hits it right. It's not decoration. It's alignment. It's the body remembering it is part of something larger than its own mood. You consider doing the same. Your attendants notice the hesitation and shift, making space for you without making a big deal. You dip 2 fingertips into the ash. It feels cool and fine, like powdered stone. You rub it gently at the base of your thumb, leaving a faint pale smudge. The mark is small, almost nothing. And still, it changes how you move. Your hands feel more deliberate, as if they now belong to the ritual rather than merely hovering around it. The festival preparations continue to build. A long strip of cloth is lifted across the courtyard, and you take one end, holding it high while someone ties it to a brick post. The fabric pulls taut, catching sunlight, turning the space into a corridor of color. It looks beautiful in a way that almost makes you forget that beauty here is never purely decorative. It is also signal. It says something is happening, watch your steps. You help carry small bowls, careful not to tip the oil, careful not to brush the offerings. Your arms begin to ache in that satisfying way that says you've done work that mattered, even if the work is only holding, folding, lifting, stepping back at the right moment. As evening approaches, lanterns are lit one by one. Warm pools of light bloom on brick. Clove smoke thickens, soft and sweet, curling through the bright cloth like a gentle ghost. The city starts to feel like it's holding its breath, ready to celebrate, ready to impress, ready to pretend nothing could possibly go wrong. You stand at the edge of the courtyard for a moment, hands faintly ashed, palms still carrying the memory of clove oil, watching the final adjustments. You feel included, and that's the dangerous part. Because when you start to belong, even slightly, the kingdom's unease begins to feel like your own. And somewhere, unseen, the river keeps moving. You stand at the edge of the courtyard while lantern light thickens into warm pools on red brick. and the whole place feels like it's balancing a bowl on an open palm. Cloth hangs taut between posts. Offerings sit in tidy constellations. Clove smoke curls through everything like a slow, sweet thought. Your attendants guide you onward, deeper toward the clove courts where the festival will be received. The path narrows, then widens, and you pass beneath another fired clay arch. A familiar threshold asks for a pause. You give it one. In, out, step. Inside, the courtyard is cleaner, smoother, more composed. The brickwork is tighter, the lanterns more evenly spaced, the air more saturated with clove oil and incense. People here move differently. Even their stillness has posture. You soften your shoulders and slow your gaze, trying to look like you belong in a place that measures manners by millimeters. A tray appears in your hands, placed there with wordless efficiency. It holds small leaf bowls, each one a careful mix of rice, petals, and dark clove buds arranged in repeating patterns. The tray isn't truly heavy, but it carries the weight of attention. Nearby eyes track the offerings more than they track you. You walk with measured steps, careful not to tilt. Your attendants keep close, not hovering, just present, your quiet guardrails. You follow the brick path toward a low platform at the far end where the tray will be set. And then you do the one thing this city has been teaching you not to do. You take a shortcut. It's barely a decision. You angle left to avoid a cluster of workers tightening a lantern frame, and your foot crosses a thin raised line of brick, just a finger's height. In any other place it would be nothing. Here, the line is a rule made solid. The shift is immediate, and it's so subtle it's almost worse. A hand pauses mid-knot. A broom stops sweeping for half a breath. One attendant straightens as if someone has tugged a string in their spine. The clove smoke doesn't change, but the air around it does, like the courtyard has quietly decided to pay attention. You freeze with your weight mid-transfer, tray held steady, and you understand without being told. You stepped where you were not meant to step, on a night when everyone is already listening for signs. You ease your foot back behind the raised line. Slow, visible, controlled. Your cheeks warm, and you hate that your body insists on turning embarrassment into a lantern. No one scolds you. That would be too loud. Instead, the nearest attendant makes a small motion with 2 fingers, downward, steadying. Keep the tray level. Keep yourself level. You obey, because obedience is currently your safest skill. You continue along the correct path, taking the longer route you should have taken in the first place. The ripple follows you anyway, quiet and persistent, like oil spreading on water. People glance once, then return to their tasks, but their hands move more deliberately now, as if your mistake has reminded everyone how thin the line is between beauty and bad luck. You reach the platform and lower the tray exactly where a clear space has been prepared. You set it down with both hands, fingers careful at the edges. You bow, small, measured, not a pleading apology, just a correction offered in posture. Then you step back and hold still. For a moment you hope that's enough. But Majapahit doesn't waste a teachable moment. A senior court attendant approaches, unhurried, focused. Their gaze drops to the raised brick line you crossed, then to the offerings, then briefly to you. Boundaries matter most when they look small. They begin to repair the space without drama. A pinch of ash is dusted along the brick ridge, smoothed into a pale seam. Then clove oil is dabbed at the corners, tiny shining points that smell sweet and sharp. The border is reasserted, resealed, made unmistakable for any wandering foot, especially yours. You don't move while it happens. You let the correction happen around you, the way a dock worker reties a line without blaming the sea. You notice how the work is both practical and symbolic. Reset the boundary, settle the air, keep the festival's luck from fraying. Your attendants guide you to a rinse bowl tucked behind a pillar. You wash your hands again, slow and thorough, as if you can rinse impatience off your skin. The water is cool. A tiny dab of clove oil returns to your palms afterward, just enough to say you are aligned, not enough to announce it. Back at the courtyard edge, you take the simplest task offered, holding a lantern frame steady while others secure it. You become a human bracket. You do not improvise. You do not seek clever routes. You hold, breathe, and let your body learn the correct pace. Gradually, the ripple thins. The broom resumes its soft sweep. Knots tighten. Cloth lies smooth. The courtyard's composure returns, not because your mistake is forgotten, but because it has been absorbed, turned into extra carefulness, extra checking, extra quiet. You keep your eyes down when you walk now, not from shame, but from respect for raised lines you once ignored. You step around them the way sailors step around coils of rope. You pause at thresholds the way temple visitors pause at altars. You let the city's rules hold you, and in return the city lets you stay. Lantern light warms the brick. Clove smoke climbs in patient threads. And you stand among people who have decided, quietly, to trust you again, as long as you remember that in Majapahit, even the smallest border is a promise. You keep to the correct paths after that, eyes softer, feet more respectful, because nothing teaches humility like realizing a raised line of brick can reroute an entire mood. The courtyard settles back into itself, and the festival preparations keep humming, but your attendants don't let you marinate in embarrassment for too long. They guide you away from the busiest light and into a quieter corridor where the air cools and the sound thins, as if the palace keeps a second, calmer heartbeat for those who need to remember how to breathe. Night gathers gently, not like a curtain dropping, but like ink seeping into cloth. Lanterns burn steadier now, their glow less like decoration and more like navigation. You pass beneath an archway where brick holds the day's leftover warmth, and then you step into the palace gardens, low, shadowed, arranged with the same careful intent you've seen everywhere else. Here, the red brick is not only walls. It becomes edging for paths, borders for planted beds, steps that guide your feet without forcing them. The garden feels like an argument between order and wildness that has been resolved politely. Water channels run straight but sound like they're laughing. Plants are trimmed but still breathe their own shapes. Stones sit where they were placed and yet look as if they settled there naturally over decades. Your attendants become watchful in a different way. Their posture shifts, not tense, but alert, like dock workers checking rope before a tide change. No words are needed to explain what this is. You can feel it. This is the part of the palace that listens. You walk slowly, letting the clove scent follow you like a soft shawl. It's quieter here, diluted by damp leaves and night air, but it still threads through everything. You can smell soil cooling. You can smell water in channels. You can smell a faint resin from lantern fuel, and something green and sharp from crushed leaves where someone stepped earlier. The path bends around a pond, and the surface holds lantern reflections in trembling strips. You immediately think of the basin where the turtle first rose, and you hate that your mind now behaves like a superstition-hungry child, scanning water like it's a page that might reveal a hidden message. Still, you look. You cannot look. The water is still, and the stillness is not reassurance. It's simply the condition of waiting. Frogs begin their steady work at the far edge of the pond, low croaks that pulse in uneven patterns. Not a chorus exactly, more like scattered notes that overlap and separate, as if the night itself is clearing its throat. You notice how your attendant's heads tilt slightly, listening the way you'd listen for a rope creak, or a ledger correction, or the faint tap of ripple against a pier. You realize that in Majapahit, listening is an action. A lantern hangs from a low branch, swaying almost imperceptibly. The flame stays steady, but the glass casing whispers with movement. A breeze passes along your cheek, cooler than the air a moment ago, and you track it by instinct. It comes from the river direction. It carries dampness and a thin mineral smell, and it makes the clove scent shift, as if sweetness is briefly pushed aside so something more serious can speak. Your attendants guide you toward a small raised bridge, brick and wood, crossing a narrow water channel that feeds the pond. The bridge is modest, but it has a threshold at its start, just a slight rise. Your body pauses without being told. You step over with deliberate care, the same way you now step around rope coils and brick lines. You feel faintly ridiculous for being proud of a controlled footstep. You also know it matters. On the far side, the garden opens into a long walkway lined with low shrubs and flowering plants. The blossoms are pale in lantern light, creams, soft whites, bruised purples, and their scent mixes with clove smoke drifting from a distant burner. Somewhere behind the plantings, water trickles in a thin stream, a continuous whisper that makes the silence feel less empty and more alive. You begin to see the palace's warnings the way you see the market's order now, not as dramatic signals, but as small deviations worth noticing. A cluster of insects swarms around one lantern but not the next, as if the air is warmer in one pocket than another. A leaf trembles in a breeze that doesn't reach your hands. A frog call stops for a second, then resumes, changed in rhythm. The canal's trickle grows slightly louder, suggesting a shift in flow upstream. None of these things are proof of anything. That's the point. Majapahit doesn't wait for proof before it pays attention. It notices early, corrects early, and avoids the larger correction later. You feel the turtle omen tightening in your mind, not as fear, but as a question you can't stop carrying. What did it want you to notice? At the docks it faced upstream and moved against the current. In the courtyard it rose and made the air change. It didn't scream danger. It suggested alignment. It suggested resistance to drift. It suggested, maybe, that you should not be lazy with boundaries, brick lines, rope lines, the invisible lines between calm and chaos. A faint sound interrupts your thinking, a soft clack, like wood touching stone. Your body stills. Your attendant still too, not startled, just instantly attentive. The sound comes again, 2 beats, then a pause, somewhere beyond the shrubs. You don't move toward it. You don't lean forward like a curious tourist about to get themselves quietly removed from palace property. You simply stand and listen, letting the garden's textures arrange themselves. The frogs continue. The water continues. The lantern flame continues, and then you identify it, a loose lantern hook, tapping gently as the breeze shifts direction. Harmless, still worth noticing. One attendant crosses the path with smooth steps, reaches up, and steadies the hook so it stops tapping. The correction is small, but the effect is immediate. The garden feels calmer, as if it appreciates being understood. The attendant returns without hurry, and you swallow a laugh that isn't quite humor and isn't quite relief. The palace runs on people who fix tiny things before they become stories. You continue walking, letting the path guide you. Your feet land softly on brick. Your breath stays quiet. The night air cools your wrists where clove oil once warmed them. You pass another basin, then another, each one reflecting lantern light in broken ribbons. No turtle rises. The omen doesn't need to repeat itself to stay powerful. It has already moved into you and started teaching you how to be careful even when nothing is happening. At the garden's far edge, the river wind arrives again, a little stronger, and it slides through the leaves with a low, dry whisper. The lanterns sway. The water's surface trembles. The frogs shift their rhythm. Your attendants pause, heads tilted, reading the night like a ledger that might need an early correction. You stand with them, silent, listening. And for the first time since you stepped through the red brick gate, you don't feel like you're waiting for a sign to tell you what to do. You feel like you're learning how to notice the world before it has to shout. You leave the garden's cool hush and follow your attendants toward warmer air. The corridor smells like life: wood smoke, hot oil, damp clay, and rice steaming until it smells like your body can finally unclench. Beneath it all runs the familiar clove thread, sweet, sharp, faintly medicinal, steady as a signature. The palace kitchens sit behind practical thresholds, half hidden and completely necessary. Brick here is darker with soot, corners rubbed smooth by baskets and elbows. You pause at the first raised lip without being reminded. After your earlier shortcut over that raised brick line, you've stopped treating boundaries as decorative. Inside, sound becomes a soft storm. Spoons tap pot rims. Knives stalk against boards. Water splashes into basins and slips away in narrow channels. Lids lift and steam rolls out, warm enough to fog your eyelashes. The cooks move with calm speed that only looks effortless. Stations form a clear map, grinding stones and bowls of spice, a sweetness corner with palm sugar and coconut milk, a fire line with clay stoves and embers kept steady, not dramatic. Everyone knows their place and moves as if the place knows them back. Your attendants keep you at the edge, the safe border between helping and becoming a story. A stack of clay bowls is set near you. The task is simple: rinse, warm, align. No improvisation. You accept with relief. Washington rinse. Set down. Align. The repetition settles your thoughts. Steam warms your fingers. Water cools your wrists. Clove scent hovers close, making the whole room feel slightly dreamlike, as if even hunger has learned to whisper. Cloves are everywhere. Whole buds drop into broths. Powdered dust sauces. A thin clove oil is rubbed inside serving bowls so the first steam releases it before anyone even tastes. It isn't just flavor. It's an invisible banner that says this meal belongs to the court. Then you notice the other truth. Food here is not only food. Platters are arranged with deliberate geometry, balanced colors, mirrored shapes, portions so consistent they leave no room for suspicion. A dish served slightly larger to one cluster is not generosity, it is a statement. A garnish missing from another plate is not forgetfulness, it is a message. You think of the record rooms and realize the kitchens keep a ledger too, only theirs is written in sweetness and smoke. A senior cook tastes a sauce and adjusts it with a pinch of salt and a shaving of palm sugar. The correction is tiny, but the fragrance that rises afterward loosens faces nearby. A tight jaw releases. A frown softens. The room keeps moving, and the mood becomes gentler around the edges. You keep working and you keep watching, learning how diplomacy can be carried on a spoon. Smoke-heavy dishes go to people who like strength. Sweet things are placed where they calm without looking like bribery. Sharp spice is measured so it wakes the senses without waking tempers. A subtle tension slides in, the kind you recognized at the docks when the turtle surfaced. A runner arrives with a basket that is too light. Eyes flick to a shelf where a space sits suddenly empty. That empty space becomes loud. Cloves are running short. You feel the stakes immediately. If the clove note weakens in the bowls meant for one corner of the court, someone will notice. If it disappears, someone will interpret it. On a festival night, scarcity can masquerade as insult, and insult spreads quietly at first, then everywhere. The senior cook pivots without flinching. Whole cloves are reserved for the most visible dishes, the ones whose steam will drift across the receiving platform and announce abundance. Ground cloves are stretched into blends with other warm spices, layered so the fragrance still feels complete. Warmed clove oil is used sparingly, brushed along bowl rims so scent arrives early and convinces the mind before the tongue can complain. Your task shifts to carrying warm bowls to a staging mat, then returning for more. You walk the same path every time, stepping over thresholds with deliberate care. Brick underfoot, warm clay in your hands, steam on your face, rhythm enough to keep your thoughts from spiraling. A pot of sweet rice thickens too fast, heat underneath growing impatient. The surface tightens, threatening to catch. Someone reaches for it, hesitates, and you see how a small burn could become a rumor, carelessness, bad luck, the turtle omen whispering that tonight is fragile. You step in just enough to be useful. You lift the pot slightly off the heat, hands protected by cloth, while another cook stirs more steadily, loosening the bottom before it can seize. The smell shifts from sharp to soft. Disaster dissolves back into steam. No praise arrives. Praise would be loud. But a calm glance lands on you, acknowledgement without ceremony, and your chest loosens as if someone untied a knot you didn't know you were holding. Trays assemble in steady waves. Lids are placed. Garnishes are set with the same care as temple offerings. The clove scent rises in controlled ribbons, ready to travel ahead of the food like a gentle proclamation. The kingdom is composed. The kingdom is generous. The kingdom still knows how to hold sweetness without letting it turn weak. You carry the last stack of bowls to the corridor, smoke in your hair and calm in your breath. Majapahit holds power with brick and borders, yes, but also with meals that soften mouths before they sharpen. And somewhere beyond these walls, the river keeps moving in its indifferent way, waiting for the next reason to make everyone listen again. You leave the kitchens with steam still softening your face, and for a moment it seems the palace has everything stitched up neatly, lanterns steady, cloth banners taut, clove smoke rising like obedient ribbon. Then the air changes in the quiet way you've learned to respect. A breeze threads through the corridor and brings a smell that doesn't belong to food or gardens. Wet stone and river silt, the clean edge of rain. Lantern halos blur with moisture. The first drops arrive as careful taps on fired clay. Then the tapping becomes a soft hiss, and brick darkens in scattered freckles. It would be easy to call it pretty, but you've watched the river long enough to know rain is never only atmosphere. Rain is supply lines. Rain is late boats. Rain is the kind of ripple that starts in the sky and ends in someone's bowl. A runner appears under the eaves, soaked at the shoulders, posture tight with restrained urgency. Your attendants pivot at once. Trouble at the docks. The river is rising fast. A lower pier is taking water over the boards. An incoming cargo that should have been safely counted and stored is stalled just off the bank where the current has started to shove. The palace doesn't panic. It adjusts. The correction spreads quietly, hand to hand, until the whole place feels steadier under the rain. Lanterns are shifted under deeper cover. A small group is gathered. People who know rope and balance, and how to do urgent work without looking frantic. Your attendants angle you into that orbit, and you realize you're going with them, because Majapahit's hospitality has always been a gentle form of recruitment. You cross thresholds in the rain, each step measured because slick brick is a liar. Water runs louder in the channels now, thin streams turning into quick ribbons. The clove scent thins under wet air but clings to your hands, as if the festival refuses to smell like defeat. At the dock quarter, the river sits higher against posts, darker with stirred silt, moving with a confident shove instead of a patient glide. Rain needles the surface. Ropes shine wet. Planks glisten. Everyone steps with the careful seriousness of people who know one slip becomes more than embarrassment. A cargo boat that should have eased in politely is now wrestling the current, its hull knocking the pier in uneven beats. Workers retie everything that can be retied. Covers are thrown over baskets. Hands move fast, but the speed is disciplined. Then, near the pier's shadow, the omen returns. A turtle surfaces in the churned shallows, head rising through rain-dimpled water with patient composure. The dock tightens for half a breath. Hands pause, eyes flick, bodies align. Then the turtle turns upstream and begins that steady line against the flow. It doesn't solve the problem. It gives the chaos a shape. Resist drift, check your lines, correct early. A stack of clay jars sits too close to the edge where water is slapping higher now. If one goes in, the rest will follow, and the festival's sweetness becomes a floating rumor. Two workers move to lift the stack, but the pier sways under the boat's pull, and the jars wobble. You step in at the border of the action, plant your feet wide on wet boards, and brace the jars with both hands while someone slides a plank under for leverage. Rain runs down your wrists. You shift the stack back toward brick inch by inch, slow enough to be safe, steady enough to be convincing. The jars settle. The river is denied its small victory. Next comes the docking line. The cargo boat carries baskets of rice and bundles of spice. Exactly the kind of things the kitchens can't afford to. Maybe receive later. The current pushes the hull sideways, lines straining and slipping. A heavier rope is thrown, but wet fibers slide, and the boat drifts another half-meter, the distance suddenly huge. You take the rope end when it's offered, wrap it around a post the way you watch sailors do, and lean your weight into it without jerking. The rope bites damply through cloth. Your shoulders burn. You exhale slow and become an anchor while others pull with you in coordinated rhythm. The boat inches closer, resisting, then yielding. Wood meets pier with a dull thud that lands in your chest like relief. Baskets move immediately, handed, not tossed. Covers are held overhead. Feet step around coils, never over. Someone dusts pale ash along a slick plank edge for traction, making a chalky path where boots won't slide. Someone dabs clove oil on a knot, not for magic, but for the same reason people bow, to remind the body to be careful. The river keeps running high, but the urgent part is contained. Cargo is under cover. Lines are tight. The pier holds. The turtle slips under and disappears into silk-dark water, leaving rings that vanish almost instantly in the rain. Your attendants guide you back toward brick lanes, soaked, breathing clove and storm at once. The palace lights glow warmer when you return, not because the weather softened, but because you did something useful inside it. Majapahit doesn't ask you to be heroic. It asks you to be steady, another pair of hands in the rain, another body that listens before the world has to shout. You return from the docks with rain clinging to you like a second garment, heavy at the sleeves, cold at the edges, yet the palace receives you without fuss. What is not shame here? What is weather? What is proof you did what needed doing? A sheltered corridor offers you a rinse bowl and a folded cloth. You wipe your hands, your wrists, your forearms, and the water that runs off is faintly dark with river silt. The clove scent is weaker now, diluted by storm air, but it still lives in the walls and in the oil that lingers on your palms like a memory refusing to fade. The festival cannot pause, so it absorbs the disruption the way brick absorbs heat, quietly, steadily. Lanterns are relit under deeper cover. Cloth is retied. Offerings are checked for damp corners. People move with that practiced calm that doesn't deny risk, it just refuses to feed it. Your attendants guide you away from the busiest preparation space and toward a smaller, more inward part of the compound where the air is cooler and smells faintly of old wood, ash, and dried leaves. This is not the record rooms, not the kitchens, not the garden. The silence here is different, thicker, weighted with attention. A low doorway opens into a chamber lit by a single steady lamp. The brick is darker, older. The floor is swept clean enough to look like it has been brushed by patience. Along one wall sit shallow bowls, ash, herbs, clove buds, rice grains, arranged with deliberate spacing. The arrangement looks almost like accounting, except the numbers are made of scent and texture instead of tokens. This is where people come when they need timing, interpretation, and reassurance that doesn't sound like a lie. An elder sits near the lamp, posture soft but grounded. Their hands rest loosely, palms up, as if they're always ready to receive a sign without grabbing at it. Beside them, a smaller attendant tends the bowls, smoothing ash, replacing a clove bud, adjusting a leaf tray by a hair's width. Small corrections again. Majapahit's favorite prayer. You are positioned at the edge, not hidden, not central. Your attendants remain behind you like quiet brackets, steadying you with their presence. No one asks you to speak. Good. Your voice would only ruin the texture of this space. The elder's gaze settles on your hands for a moment, noticing the faint ash smudge still at your thumb. Then the gaze shifts, past you, toward the doorway, toward the sound of rain beyond the walls. The elder listens the way your attendants listened in the garden, not for drama, but for deviation. A shallow bowl of ash is pulled closer. The attendant smooths it flat with 2 fingers until it becomes a pale, even surface. Then the elder presses a small stamp into the ash, gentle, precise, and lifts it cleanly. A simple pattern remains, lines and curves you can't translate, but you can feel as a kind of rhythm. The elder studies it, head tilted slightly, and you realize the act is both symbolic and practical. It forces slowness. It forces attention. It creates a pause large enough for the mind to see what it might otherwise miss. A clove bud is placed at the center of the stamped pattern. Then another and another, counted, not scattered. The number matters. You don't know why, but you know it matters the way ledger columns matter and rope knots matter. The elder's fingers hover for a moment, then adjust one bud by a fraction so the spacing becomes exact. The room seems to settle, satisfied. You think about the turtle moving upstream in the rain, against the current. You think about dock hands tightening ropes and moving jars away from the edge. You think about your own mistake stepping over that raised brick line, how fast a small boundary breach became a ripple. The elder's gaze returns to you, not accusing, not flattering, simply acknowledging that you've been pulled into the kingdom's language whether you intended it or not. You are learning the rules that keep things from unraveling. You are learning that signs are not commands, they are prompts to check your work. The attendant brings forward a small dish of oil, clove-scented and warm. The elder dips a fingertip and touches the oil to the edge of the ash bowl in 4 small points, creating a faint shine like tiny stars. The gesture is slow enough to feel soothing, like someone tracing a calm shape in the air. Then the elder turns the bowl slightly, aligning it with the doorway, aligning it with the faint direction of the river beyond. You feel a soft click inside your mind as if something locks into place. The omen's message becomes clearer, not as a prophecy, but as guidance. Face upstream, resist drift, correct early. Don't let your attention slide away just because you'd rather be comfortable. Outside, the rain begins to thin. The sound changes, from hard tapping to a softer whisper. The water channels outside the chamber still run fast, but they no longer roar. The shift is gradual, but the room notices it instantly. Everyone's shoulders loosen by a degree, as if the air itself is exhaling. The elder's hands rest again, palms open. The ash bowl remains stamped and studded with clove buds, a quiet map you can't read but can feel. You understand that this space doesn't exist to predict disasters. It exists to keep people steady enough to respond when the world tilts. Your attendants guide you back toward the festival corridors, and you walk differently now. Not because you've been told anything, but because you've watched the kingdom's most careful minds do what they always do: make space for attention, create order in small gestures, and let calm spread outward like ripples that don't harm. The clove scent strengthens as you near the courts again. Lanterns glow warmer. Wet brick dries in patches. The festival waits, repaired and ready, not pretending the storm never happened, just proving it doesn't have to own the night. You re-enter the working corridors with the feeling that the palace has quietly reset its spine. The rain outside has thinned to a soft, tired whisper, and everything smells like wet brick cooling down, earthy, clean, faintly mineral, until the clove smoke rises again and reminds the air what tonight is supposed to be. No one celebrates the storm easing. that would tempt the sky to change its mind. Instead, Majapahit does what it always does: it corrects. You're guided to the edge of a staging courtyard where people gather in small clusters, each one focused on a practical repair: cloth to dry, lanterns to relevel, walkways to make safe, goods to redirect so the kitchens don't start inventing meals out of optimism and hope. The tasks are not announced. They simply appear in front of you as objects placed in hands, as paths pointed out by a tilt of the chin, as silent expectations you can either meet or become memorable for not meeting. You choose the safer option: be useful. A stack of woven mats is brought out and laid along a corridor where brick has turned slick. Someone dusts a thin seam of ash over the mat's edges, just enough to keep feet from slipping. The ash line looks pale against the red floor, and it immediately pulls your mind back to that raised brick boundary you crossed earlier. Funny how a line can be both harmless and completely capable of rerouting your whole life. You help press the mats flat, smoothing corners, tucking edges so no one catches a toe. Your hands move slowly, deliberate. It's not glamorous. It is, however, the difference between a graceful festival and a humiliating stumble in front of people who treat posture like law. Nearby, lantern frames are checked one by one. Hooks are steadied. Knots are retied. Someone wipes moisture from glass casings with a cloth so the flame inside looks clean and confident instead of foggy and sad. You lift a lantern frame while another pair of hands secures the tie. You don't rush. You don't improvise. You are a human bracket again, and it turns out being a bracket is an underrated spiritual practice. The scent of clove oil returns as bowls are rewarmed, lids reseated, serving trays relined. Wet air makes smells behave differently. Everything carries farther, everything feels sharper, so the cooks adjust with that quiet intelligence you witnessed earlier. A little less smoke, a little more warmth. A dab of clove oil at a rim where steam will lift it gently instead of throwing it at someone's face like an accusation. A runner arrives from the dock quarter, wet hair plastered to the forehead, hands occupied with a small bundle of sealed leaves. Records updated, counts confirmed. You don't need to see the marks to understand what's happening. The ledger is catching up to the storm. Majapahit is stitching its numbers back into place. You're guided into a covered passage where supplies are being redirected in neat streams. Baskets that would normally go one way are now carried another. A storehouse door is opened under deeper shelter. A cart route shifts to avoid a flooded stretch. It all happens without fuss, like water finding a new channel. Except this time it's people choosing the channel. You take a basket of dry cloth and carry it to a courtyard edge where damp banners hang in heavy folds. The bright dye looks darker when wet, as if the storm tried to mute the celebration. You help pull the fabric taut again, stretching it between beams so it can dry evenly. The cloth gives slightly under your hands, then holds. The gesture is simple, almost tender, and you feel a weird satisfaction in it, like you're helping the palace stand tall again, one piece of fabric at a time. Someone sets a clay brazier beneath a sheltered overhang, not too close to scorch, just close enough to encourage warmth. Clove smoke curls upward in threads through the damp air like a slow reassurance. Your eyelids want to droop for a second. Warmth does that. But you stay awake, because you are currently employed by the kingdom in the role of person who does not make new problems. At the edge of the courtyard, a raised brick lip has collected water. The puddle makes the border look deceptively smooth, and you can already imagine a foot sliding, someone's careful composure turning into an embarrassing skid. You grab a cloth, kneel, and wipe the water away in steady strokes. The brick's texture reappears, honest and grippy. You dust a pinch of ash along the dampest section the way you saw it done at the docks. Again, tiny correction. Huge difference. As you stand, your attendant's posture loosens slightly. Not praise. Just the quiet relief of not having to constantly rescue you from yourself. The storm's main damage isn't dramatic. No collapsed walls, no shattered lanterns, just 100 small disruptions, damp offerings, slick pathways, delayed goods, ropes that need rechecking, knots that need retightening because wet fibers lie. Majapahit's response is perfectly matched, 100 small fixes, done patiently, done together. And togetherness is the part you feel most strongly now. You watch people pass tools hand to hand without hesitation. A broom moves from one person to another like a shared heartbeat. A basket is lifted by two sets of arms without the slightest struggle over who should do it. Someone holds a covering cloth while another ties. Someone steadies a tray while another aligns the bowls. There is no grand speech about unity. Unity is simply what happens when the river rises and everyone wants to keep the night from tipping. You feel yourself fold into that rhythm, breath quiet, movements measured, attention anchored. The turtle omen sits in the back of your mind, not as fear, but as a gentle pressure toward discipline. Face upstream, resist drift, correct early. Gradually, the palace begins to look dry again. Lantern light stops shimmering through mist and starts shining cleanly. The clove scent thickens into its familiar sweetness. Footsteps become confident instead of cautious. The last redirected baskets arrive where they need to be, and you can almost sense kitchens exhaling. Yes, the ingredients are here. Yes, the festival can still taste like abundance. The sky outside softens to a lighter gray. Rain becomes a memory held in wet leaves and darkened brick. Water channels still run fast, but their sound turns from urgent to soothing. And in that subtle shift, when hands slow, when shoulders drop, when someone finally stops glancing toward the river every few seconds, you feel the whole city release one long, controlled breath. Majapahit doesn't announce its survival. It simply continues, steady, scented with cloves, held together by communal hands and the quiet refusal to let a storm rewrite the night. The festival night finally opens the way a flower opens, slow at first, then suddenly you realize the whole courtyard is glowing and you've been standing inside the bloom the entire time. The rain has backed off into wet leaves and darker patches of brick, leaving the air cool and clean, as if the storm washed the place specifically to make the lanterns look better. Typical. Lanterns hang in disciplined lines under eaves and between posts, each one a warm bead of light. When you look down the corridor of red brick and cloth, the lanterns feel like constellations brought closer to Earth, close enough to warm your face. The bright banners have dried into crisp color again, fluttering gently, not frantic, just alive. Clove smoke threads through it all, soft and steady, lifting from burners and slow ribbons. And you can smell it even before you see the offerings and the platters. It's like the entire kingdom decided that tonight, sweetness will not be optional. You move with your attendants toward the receiving courtyard where the heart of the festival gathers. You don't hurry. You don't take shortcuts. Your feet respect every raised lip, and bricks seem like they're old teachers with sharp eyes. You pause at thresholds without even thinking about it now, because after stepping over that thin brick line earlier, you learned what it feels like when a whole room quietly recalculates you. The courtyard opens wide, and the red brick looks almost unreal under torchlight, deep, warm, glowing from within, like it's storing a private sunrise. Along the edges, people sit or kneel in composed arrangements, not scattered, not random. Patterns everywhere. Even celebration is structured because of course it is. Majapahit doesn't do chaotic joy. It does deliberate joy, measured joy, joy that won't embarrass itself. Incense burns in low clay holders, smoke curling upward in threads so thin they look like they could snap if you breathed too loudly. Offerings sit in leaf trays, rice, petals, ash, and those glossy clove buds placed with repeating numbers and careful spacing. The cloves catch torchlight like small dark stars, and for a moment you understand why the scent feels so constant. It isn't just drifting. It's being arranged. Food arrives in waves, carried with steady hands and placed with the same care as temple offerings. Lids lift and steam rises, warm, fragrant, layered. You smell palm sugar and coconut, toasted rice, fish and herbs, and through all of it the clove note stays present, not shouting, not hiding, simply insisting. You remember the moment in the kitchens when cloves ran reminders short, and the cooks corrected early, oil at rims, whole buds reserved for visibility, ground spice stretched with intelligence. The scent now feels like proof that the correction worked, like the festival is standing on the quiet labor of people who never clap for themselves. Something like music begins, not voices, not words, just rhythm. Soft percussion, a repeated pulse that settles into your chest the way breath settles when you stop fighting sleep. The sound is not dramatic. It's steady. It makes the courtyard feel connected, as if everyone's heartbeat is being politely reminded to behave. You watch faces in torchlight, calm, reflective, focused. The storm and the river trouble haven't been forgotten, they've been absorbed. That's the strange strength of this place. A disruption doesn't end the night. It becomes part of the night's texture, like a darker dye woven into cloth to make the bright parts look brighter. Your attendants guide you to a respectful edge where you can see without being seen too much, which is still your safest role. From here, the patterns become clearer. Courtiers move in smooth arcs. Attendants step in and out like quiet tides, offering trays, adjusting lantern hooks, smoothing cloth, dusting ash along slick places no one should slip. You recognize the same instinct everywhere, tiny corrections, done early, so nothing becomes a headline. Your body keeps remembering the docks, wet rope biting through cloth, the boat inching closer under coordinated pull, the jars saved from the river's slap. It remembers the garden too, the lantern hook tapping and being steadied before the sound could turn into a nervous story. The callbacks are almost funny now, in a private, sleepy way. Remember that moment you almost became famous for stepping over a line of brick? Yes. Good. Never again. And then your attention drifts, without effort, toward water. Not because you want drama. Viously. Because you've been trained. The courtyard has basins and channels at its edges, kept clean and flowing even in celebration. You catch a glint where lantern light trembles on a surface, and your mind, slightly exhausted, slightly softened by smoke and rhythm, waits for the turtle the way it would wait for a familiar refrain in a song. It doesn't rise. Instead, you notice something smaller and stranger. The way the water's surface stays steady now, not glass still, but calm enough to hold light without shivering. The storm earlier churned everything into noise, rain needles, silt dark ripples, current pulling at boats. Now the basin reflects torchlight in clean, long streaks. The river is still out there, still powerful, but the immediate surface is composed. The meaning of the omen arrives without fanfare, the way sleep arrives when you stop asking for it. The turtle wasn't promising you safety. It was showing you a method: resist drift, face upstream, correct early. Don't wait for the river to knock the jars in before you move them. Don't wait for the lantern hook to become a rattle. Don't wait for your foot to cross the wrong line. You feel the lesson settle in your ribs like warmth from a bowl held close. It's almost annoyingly reasonable. The universe didn't give you a mystical riddle. It gave you basic maintenance advice. Torchlight flares a little brighter as another set of offerings is placed. Clove smoke rises in slow, fragrant spirals. The percussion continues, steady, steady, until your shoulders drop and your jaw unclenches and your eyes grow heavy in the nicest way. At some point, you realize you're no longer scanning for danger. You're simply watching. Brick glowing. Cloth breathing. Hands moving in practiced care. Food steaming. Incense curling. A kingdom making beauty not as a performance, but as a discipline. And in that discipline, you feel something unexpectedly tender: gratitude. Not loud. Not performative. Just a quiet thank you to everyone who tightened a knot, dusted ash on a slick plank, counted a bundle correctly, warmed a bowl, retied a banner after the rain. The festival is not a miracle. It is 1,000 small choices made correctly. You stand at the edge of the clove courts, lanterns above you like constellations lowered for human comfort, and you let the night hold you, softly, steadily, until your thoughts slow down enough to stop trying to run ahead. The night thins without announcing itself. Torchlight softens. The percussion settles into longer spaces between beats, as if even rhythm is getting sleepy. Smoke from the clove burners grows lighter, less eager, rising in slow ribbons that fade into the dark above the eaves. You feel the courtyard's warmth slide off your shoulders the way rain slid off brick earlier, quietly, leaving you cleaner inside. Attendants begin the smallest unwinding. A tray is lifted. A bowl is covered. A lantern hook is steadied so it doesn't tap in the breeze. Those tiny corrections keep happening right up to the end, because Majapahit doesn't stop being itself just because the celebration is finishing. The kingdom holds its calm like a habit. Your own body mirrors it. You step back when someone needs space. You keep your hands close, clean, and still. You don't chase the last bright moment like it owes you anything. You let it pass through you and become memory. Your attendants guide you out of the receiving courtyard through brick corridors that glow with leftover heat. The banners above are quieter now, their cloth no longer snapping, just breathing. The air smells of wet leaves cooling, of wood smoke sinking, of clove oil clinging to pottery rims and skin. Somewhere deeper in the compound, the kitchens keep working, soft, practical sounds, because even joy needs cleanup. You pass a shallow basin and catch the tremble of lantern light on water. Your mind, trained by omens and habit, tilts toward it. Nothing surfaces. The surface remains calm, holding reflections in long, unbroken strokes. That calm feels like a final instruction. You don't always get another sign. You just get the chance to act better with the one you already received. A corridor opens into a smaller courtyard where brick walls are darker with age. A few figures stand there, not blocking you, simply present. Their posture carries the quiet weight of people who keep the place running. Scribes, carriers, keepers of thresholds, the hands behind the lanterns. You recognize them by the way they move, precise, unhurried, capable of fixing a whole night with a pinch of ash and a steady knot. You offer a small bow, measured and clean. Not apology this time. Gratitude. Your shoulders soften. Your breath stays quiet. The bow feels like setting a tray down without tipping it, simple, careful, honest. One of them places a folded cloth into your hands, dry and warm from being kept near a brazier. Another touches a fingertip to a dish of clove oil and marks the base of your thumb again, renewing the faint scent you've carried since your first courtyard lesson. The gesture is light, almost nothing. And still it lands in you like an anchor. You walk on, following brick lanes that slowly widen. The palace quarter recedes behind you in layered thresholds, each one asking for a final pause. You give it. In. Out. Step. Your feet know what to do now. The city has taught you its grammar. Near the outer gate, the air changes. It's cooler, more open, touched by river distance. You can smell silt and damp wood again, but softened now, not urgent. The storm has finished its argument. Water channels murmur in their straight brick beds, carrying away the night's last heat. The red brick gate appears ahead, framed by dim lanterns like a doorway between worlds. Its fired clay looks darker at the base where rain kissed it earlier, lighter higher up where warmth still lives. You slow without thinking, letting your fingers brush the brick's edge, just a grazing touch, respectful, brief, feeling the texture that has been steady the entire time you've been here. A small movement at the side catches your eye, the shallow channel near the gate, water slipping through with quiet persistence. In the lantern reflection, a rounded shadow drifts, pauses, then glides on. Maybe it's only a leaf. Maybe it's the river's way of teasing you. You don't demand certainty. You simply feel your attention sharpen, then soften again, the way the elders' ash bowl taught you. Notice, align, let the world be what it is. Your attendants stop just inside the gate. This is where hosting ends. No words are needed. They stand with that calibrated hospitality that guided you from your first wrong step to your last correct one. You bow again, small and measured, and you feel how different it is now. Your body knows the angle. Your breath knows the timing. Your mind knows the point. Respect isn't a performance, it's maintenance. Beyond the gate, the lane stretches toward the waking city. A faint pale line of dawn begins to lift at the horizon, turning the edges of roofs into soft silhouettes. The market will soon arrange its baskets again. The docks will retie their ropes again. The record rooms will slide their tokens again. The kingdom will keep surviving on tiny corrections. You take one last look back through the red brick frame. Lanterns glow like embers inside a hearth. Cloth hangs at rest. Smoke has thinned to a faint sweet trace. Somewhere, unseen, the turtle omen lives on, not as a creature you need to chase, but as a method you can carry, face upstream, resist drift, correct early, And don't step over lines you haven't earned. You step out beneath the gate and feel the night release you. Clove scent lingers in your lungs like a gentle aftertaste. Your hands smell faintly of oil and ash. Your feet remember thresholds. And as you walk away, the brick behind you stays warm and steady, holding the city's quiet promise that order, like kindness, is built one careful action at a time. The lane grows quieter as you move away, and the city's edges soften into the blur that belongs to dreams. Cool air brushes your cheeks. Your sleeves still hold a little dampness, but your hands keep a hint of warmth, as if clove oil has decided to stay. Each step becomes slower, smoother. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw loosens. Behind you, Majapahit continues its patient work. Brick cools. Lanterns dim. Water travels through straight channels, carrying away the night's last heat. Near the river, ropes rest after being tightened, and jars sit safely back from the edge. Somewhere deeper inside, careful hands keep checking and correcting, not because anyone is afraid, but because care is simply what people do here. You let that care become yours. You don't need to hold the whole kingdom in your mind. You keep only the smallest, kindest parts, the pause at a threshold, the quiet breath in a clove-scented court, the lantern hook fixed before it can tap, the turtle moving upstream without drama. Tiny lessons. Gentle maintenance for a tired life. Your eyes feel heavy now, in the best way. The clove scent fades into soft sweetness at the back of your throat, like the last note of music hanging in the air after the rhythm stops. You breathe in slowly. You breathe out even slower. With each exhale, you release whatever tried to cling to you today, worry, noise, the urge to rush. Your thoughts slow, soften, and drift like lantern light on water again. In the dark, you can almost feel the red brick still warm, still steady, still holding the shape of the gate behind you. It doesn't demand anything. It simply stands. You can do that too. Just stand. Just rest. Let the night take over, quietly, kindly, and completely. End of story. Sweet dreams.